Hey, what up YouTube? Thanks for tuning into my RC channel for episode 3 of the Mega Mini build. In this episode, we're going to get this thing working the way it ought to. By modifying the stock shocks with this hot racing telescoping shock kit, we'll be able to reuse the ends of the stock shocks, which are on pivot balls instead of barrels, which will make this truck flex the way it's really supposed to. Start by disassembling the stock shocks. All you're going to be reusing are the caps, the rod ends, and the actual shaft. Once you have all the parts from the stock shocks that you need, to just reassemble the kit onto the stock shocks as shown. I use the springs out of the hot racing kit only on the front shocks, and then I use the stock axial springs on the rear shocks. Those of you guys out there that are already using these shocks on your rigs, let me know what you guys use for springs and if there's any good resources for information to actually set these things up. Although I'm kind of wary of anything hot racing, this kit actually went together fairly smooth, and with the exception of only one shock shaft hanging up inside its little telescopic section, everything went together pretty easily. And here's a look at those completed units. And judging by the end results, I have to say this is my second favorite modification I've made to this truck, second only to the FuryTech motor and ESC combo. I caught wind of a modification you could do to these RC four-wheel drive wheels where you mount the hex onto the outside of the wheel and it makes them deep dish, so I went ahead and did that to give this thing a wider stance. After about 45 minutes, those wheels and tires are ready to go back on the truck. I'm going to go ahead and say it, but the vast majority of the shocks out on the market for the SCX24 just blow. Just use the stock shocks, put this telescoping kit in it, don't use anything else, unless it has a pivot ball on the end. This made such a huge difference in the way this truck worked. After trying several different positions of that shock mount, I settled with it in the forward position, upright, and then using the front chassis hole for my upper shock mount. Stay tuned while I remove this cheap junk off my truck and install the rest of these hot racing modified stock shock units back onto my SCX24. Alright, with those hot racing modified shocks back in place, it's time to put these newly modified RC four-wheel drive wheels back on, and let's see how this bad boy flexes now I've gotten the major point of stiffness out of the suspension. Whoa, ho, ho, you guys. This thing is definitely a flex beast. Compared to the last episode of the Mini Mega build, this thing is flexing like crazy. After I assembled it for episode 2 and ran it, I saw that it was a little stiff and really expected more out of this truck. Alright guys, that wraps it up for episode 3 of Mini Mega build and wraps it up for Mini Mega build. So if you haven't already, now's a good time to go and subscribe to my channel. If you like what you see, feel free to hit that like button. Thanks for tuning in, and stay free, America!